Hello. All right, this is great. This is just wonderful. I subscribe to Bill Flowers, uh, Bill Flowers' channel, and this is awesome. Bill, I think you're brilliant, and I refer specifically to your deconstruction of the fact that man and other creatures, for that matter, created for violence and what that would mean for a God that would create this creature, obviously, for violence. It's an interesting thing because when you do the same deconstruction in evolution, it's still created for violence, but it's more in reaction to a violent reality, and it's then becomes a beneficial. It's so we can survive. If somebody setting a system up like that intentionally, then it would have a different meaning. And this relates to something I think you might understand that I have been saying that it's hard for people to get. I mean, my own atheism, it comes down to, just reasoning without theism. But in terms of do I believe in God or not, well, nobody's ever given a proper definition of God, right? I would have to have a definition. You can't say, do you believe in blamble blah? It's like, what does that mean? Whatever, just answer the question. Okay, so you'd have to define it. But I've defined it myself. I figured out, well, what are the definitions? All the attempted definitions, what do they have in common? It's always something I'm supposed to worship. See? And like you said, you made a deduction that God would kind of be a jerk to do that, set us up with this big temptation, knowing full well, not only because of his prescience of the knowing the future, but actually having built it this way. You know, yeah, it's a setup. And so that becomes the real question. All the definitions of God are an attempt to describe something I should worship. And I've demonstrated to myself, at least, that there is no such thing. There cannot be a thing such that, uh, by my standards, I should worship it. I don't believe in worshiping things. I believe in great amounts of respect and lots of really positive, even deferential attitudes, but not worship. So yeah, this is great. There was a bunch of other great stuff too. Also, I have believed for a long time and had a project that I sometimes call Language Seven, and and one of the main goals in that language is to remove from words value judgments and put the value judgments back in sentences and paragraphs. And I often use the example of a parasite, but Bill's example is even better. It shows a defeat of concepts of good and bad and how really they're relative to what. We have other ways to keep our immune system working, but it's true. Some parasites, they start to not necessarily asymptotically, but they start to approach symbiosis and can actually be beneficial, if at least only by um, being territorial and fighting off maybe worse parasites. Um, but we have a lot of non-human DNA in our body of things that probably started in some parasitic role, but were benign or beneficial enough that now we do have a symbiotic relationship with them. So anyway, much praises for these conversations, and I don't get in the atheist conversation too often. I have lots of views on that, but it's just the conversation itself usually takes place in areas that don't really interest me. Yours generally do, and especially this one. I really thought this was great. All right. Yeah, thanks for the food for thought. And yeah, I really think it's worth, for other people, I would even recommend watching this over and over until you understand the point about the parasites and the point about man being designed for violence.